So yesterday, my partner Aaron and I, it's my romantic and business partner. So, we were uh we were out we were having a date, but we'd stopped. Well, not really stopped because we just love learning, right? We're self-educators, right? And she had put me onto her mentor, who she really looks up to. Her name is Mina Irfan. We traded books. I took her book, Lady Balls, How to Become Savagely Successful in a World Addicted to Suffering. So I got Aaron's book, and she got Way of the Superior Man. So we basically like traded gospels. Pretty cool. But today we were also like we were tapping into more of Mina's stuff. So basically, she had this like three-part lecture series that's exclusive to members, and since Aaron's a member, we watched that together. We watched the first one yesterday, and Mina had introduced this concept called cloud energy, and I really like this concept because it encompasses everything that you need to do if you want to become like a high value person. If you want to get paid for what you know and you want to get paid for the things you've done instead of getting paid for your time. If you want to get paid for putting time into like a course and then you get paid for the course over and over and over again. If you want to get paid for your knowledge, maybe you want to do some group coaching calls, and then or like a lecture series. Let's say you do a lecture series for a group, for a mastermind, and then you can turn all of those lectures into a course and you can sell that. It's about using your consciousness, compounding your consciousness. That's for Mina. You want to compound your consciousness with cloud energy. And cloud energy is basically just consciousness, it's education, it's leverage, and it's surrender. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, consciousness, that's your education, expanding your ability to think, your ability to solve problems. You do this by educating yourself, exploring curiosities, finding out gaps in your knowledge, and filling them. Leverage. Leverage is a very important concept in the game of business. The thing is, like, if we want to make a bunch of money, but we don't want to put in a bunch of time to make that money, then we have to get smart. We have to figure out, how do we put in a decent amount of time? How do we put in a certain amount of time to get an outsized result? That's leverage. Like, imagine you wanted to hop on a coaching call with me, and I was like, all right, yeah, cool. Come, you'll get an hour of my time for $100. Cool, sure, right? But let's say instead of charging you $100 for an hour, I charge you $1,000 for an hour, right? And so before I had 1 hour of time, $100, 1 to 100, cool. Now it's 1 hour of time to $1,000, 1 to 1,000. So we just 10x our leverage. It's the same amount of input, but the output increased. That is leverage. So there's four types of leverage. There's collaboration, working with other people, having more hands, having more minds together. So you do more work better. I mean, in the same amount of time. Makes sense. Same, I mean, it's kind of like the same amount of time, but you can get outputs. You can get more output for that time because there's more hands, more minds put together. There's capital, which is investing money. So investing in stocks, investing in crypto, investing in businesses, putting your money somewhere where it can sit, and then it'll compound and it'll expand over time. That's important. And then there's the kings of leverage, which are content, media, like YouTube, like writing, like books, things that you can create once and distribute infinitely. And code is the exact same way. So content and code are the kings of leverage because you can create them one time and they can be distributed, they can be sold, they can be seen a theoretical infinite amount of times. I put 5.5 hours into my first course. Well, technically it was the second course I ever made, but my first course that I've really sold, my purposeful productivity course. And I mean, I put about 15 hours of time total into that. There was like 5.5 hours of content. That 15 hours of time is going to be that 15 hours forever. And that course could make me thousands of dollars over its lifetime, all because of that 15 hours of time. I could make $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 from that one course, just from that 15 hours of time. That is leverage. And so you want to go all in on usually content. Maybe you're a coder and you want to make a software, but usually what's most accessible is content. And this is why I believe that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you basically just need a way to be you need to be making content. The thing is, content isn't just high leverage, it's also one of the only ways you can actually market your services. There's not that many ways to market services. So I mean, or market a product. If you're trying to make money, if you want to make money in business, right? You need two things: the product, the thing you're selling, which is the actual value people are like buying, and you need the marketing. This is the traffic. This is how people know about the product, so they come and buy it. Okay, cool. And so if I have a product like my coaching offer, let's say, where I help spiritual entrepreneurs make $1,000 online as a coach in 30 days through YouTube, that's something you're interested in. Second link description. If that's something you're interested in, I mean, fuck. if shit. Yeah, okay, I remember. So content, right? There's four ways to market. We have outreach, cold or warm. Cold outreach is reaching out to people you don't know. Warm outreach is reaching out to people you do know. Outreach is super, super low leverage because it probably takes you like 5 to 10 minutes to like write a single email or a DM or make a phone call. And to actually get reasonable results, you'll have to do hundreds, if not thousands of those. So very, very low leverage when it comes to like outreach. There's ads, which is, ads are very effective, but if you don't have the capital to invest into like 50, 100, more likely thousands of dollars per week into ads, then you're not going to really see returns on profits. It's not going to make sense, right? So there's outreach, there's ads, there's content. So making free organic content that is aligned with the market, like aligned with your product. So I have a product helping spiritual entrepreneurs make $1,000 online. And so I make videos on making money online. I make videos on YouTube because YouTube is the vehicle I use. I make videos on spirituality. So spiritual people are attracted to me. See what I'm saying? So you want to make your content aligned with your product, and that is how you market it. You make content that's aligned with the product, that gives values, that hits on pain points, hits on solution points, shows people how to go from problem to solution. You give away all the value, and hey, if someone executes on it, they change their life. That's lit. You just change lives for free. I mean, that's fucking awesome. I think that's fucking awesome. But if someone doesn't execute, or maybe they don't really feel like they can on their own, boom, that's where you come in. You come in to help them execute. You come in for accountability. You come in to make sure they get the transformation. That is powerful, right? And the thing is, like, content is free and it's leverageable because you can put in 20 minutes of time into a video and you can get 100, 1,000, 10,000 views. That 20 minutes can turn into 200, 2,000, 20,000 minutes. All because instead of writing DMs, sending emails, you're just making content with that time instead. Leverage is about inputs versus outputs. So it can be time to money, but it can also be time to reach. And so this is why we want to use content, because content allows us to invest time and get an infinite amount of reach, theoretically, if we know how to play the content game, if we know how to capture attention. And with that infinite reach, we can also create products that have scalability. And that's where we really start getting the ball rolling. If your content is high leverage and your product is high leverage, your business is high leverage, which means that you can put in a certain amount of time to something and get outsized returns. So if you want to make money, you need to understand the concept of compounding your consciousness. You need to understand cloud energy. Cloud energy is consciousness. It's your ability to problem solve. It's your ability to get ideas. It's your creative execution. It's your education, right? It's leverage. And it's also surrender. What do you mean surrender, Jaden? Surrender to God. Oh man. So in that last part, the third lecture that Aaron and I were watching, bro, literally like 2 or 3 times, people were like asking Mina questions in her membership chat, right? And she was responding to them. And they were asking her, "Oh man, Mina, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this?" And she's like, "Hey, here's what I would do. Dear God, here's my situation. I want to serve you. How do I serve you better?" Bro, let me tell you this, guys. The reason I'm so big on spirituality is because I've always been a fairly spiritual person, but for about 9 years, from 10 to 19, I was not tapped into that at all. I was not tapped into that at all, right? And I was so far from God. I was so far removed. I was so based in ego consciousness, and I was trying to do everything on my own. And it was hard, and I wasn't making progress. Why? because I was trying to bear too much weight. Like, we were not meant to try to solve problems on our own. The thing is, guys, like, if your consciousness isn't at the level to solve the problem, then you need to tap into the infinite consciousness that does have the solution. If your consciousness is too boxed, it's too limited, and the solution you're looking for is outside of this box, the only way you're going to get outside of it is by reaching, is by tapping in to an infinite source, by asking God. And so instead of trying to depend on yourself and on being, this human who has power and has potential, has the ability to create, but only so much. Why would you depend on yourself when you could just depend on the infinite? Why would you depend on yourself when you could depend on the strength of source, the infinite wisdom of and love of God? Like, why would you depend on yourself when you could do that? And the thing is, guys, like, in April, like mid-April, late April, I just had this just aha moment where I was just like, oh, I get it. I've been trying to do this business thing. I've been trying to do this life thing alone. That's why this shit is so hard. Oh, okay, that actually makes sense. And so I was like, yeah, fuck that. I want to do this with God. And it's literally never been easier because I know that God's got my back. I know if I don't have the solution to a problem, I can ask and I'll receive it. I just have to keep expanding my consciousness. And if education isn't doing that, if leverage isn't helping me, then I need to surrender and I need to follow the direction that God is pointing me in, even if it's unknown why he's pointing me there. You're not going to know all the time. It's just not going to happen. In fact, most of the time you won't know. Is what it is. Because if you want to grow, if you want to expand, if you want to evolve, it takes exploring the unknown. You're never going to grow if you're stuck in your little box of comfort. You have to explore. You have to step out. You have to get out of this box. You have to get uncomfortable. Comfort only leads to more stagnation. If you want to make progress, you need pain. You fucking need pain. I'm like, it needs to be uncomfortable. It needs to be scary. It needs to be like, I don't know. It needs to feel like that. Because only by walking in the unknown can you explore and find new things. Only by finding new things can you expand your consciousness to levels that will help you actualize. Albert Einstein said this. We cannot solve a problem with the same level of consciousness that created it. And so if you're stuck in a cycle, it's because you're stuck in the same level of consciousness. Educate yourself and surrender. Learn more and ask God for guidance. Stop trying to do this shit alone. Because when you ask, you will receive. You will get these downloads. You will get these intuitions. You will get these nudges. You will get these messages. You will execute. And as you continuously execute, your internal will start reflecting. Your external will start reflecting your internal. As soon as I started going all in, I was like, yo, I got God behind me. I'm lit. As soon as I started going I started uploading daily videos on May 15th. It's currently July 27th. I'm 2.5 months in strong because I am so I made a video about this recently called "It's actually pretty easy to make daily videos as a spiritual entrepreneur." Because when you have these 3 secrets to effortless creation, you're golden. When you're unblocked, when your creativity is unblocked, when you don't have mental blocks, when you don't have spiritual blocks like trauma, like anxiety, like a lack of like feeling like you can't authentically express yourself. When these things aren't in your way, you can flow. When you're tapped into God, when you're tapped into source, you're just infinitely abundant. Source is always trying to send you ideas. Are you executing on them? Because if you're not going to keep getting them. God has work to do on this world. And so if you're not going to do the work, God's going to appoint someone else to do it. You have to like you have to be willing to follow these blind orders. You have to be willing to do this. If you're not willing to do this, you will not be where you want to go. Like, you will not get there. You will not get there. You have to be willing to rely not on yourself, but on the infinite. Because once you start tapping into this divine love and this divine wisdom, like, everything else just flows through you. I've been tapping into this since mid-May, and I didn't make a single dollar until June 12th. But that entire time, I felt internally abundant. I felt internally rich because I had love, because I had fulfillment. I was doing the work that God was telling me to do, so I felt good about it. Guys, you don't need to be fully actualized in your purpose to feel fulfilled. You just need to make progress every day. You just need to know that you're actually putting in the work to hit the marker. Because if you do that, if you're willing to take the step every day, you're good. You're following the path God put you on. But if you're stuck, if you're stagnant, because you want to stay in your little box of comfort, you're not. And you're going to feel unfulfilled. The thing is, guys, like, you know what you have to do. And the reason you feel like trash, the reason you feel depressed, the reason you don't like your life is simply because you're not doing it. No, it's actually that simple. Disobedience leads to depression. God has work that you have to do. You're not doing it, so you hate your life. No, it really is that simple. Like, this was me for 9 years. And then I realized I just have to tap into what God put me here to do. And as soon as I started doing that every day, never felt better. I've literally never loved life more. I'm only loving life more and more and more because I'm continuously I'm continuously compounding. I'm continuously growing my consciousness. And I'm evolving. And now I'm evolving with Aaron. And we're about to be lit together. I'm so hyped. And so it's like, if you want to level up, if you want to make money online, you need to constantly expand your education. You need to constantly expand your consciousness. You need to invest that consciousness into leverage that can be built once and distributed infinitely. And you need to surrender because you do not have control. If you believe you are in control, you're being run by ego consciousness. Of course, we make actions. We have free will. Yeah. But at the same time, life is always living through us. Source is always acting through us. And so to think that we are completely alone, acting alone in this world, is pretty arrogant. But when you start connecting, when you start disconnecting from separation, not allowing separation to get in your way anymore, when you become one with the Creator, when you start understanding that God is within, that source is within, that divinity is within, that creativity comes from within, all of these things come from within. And once you start tapping into here, everything goes off. This is what I've been doing for the past 2.5 months. I've been constantly expanding. In the first 2 weeks of July, I made $1,200 because I had consciousness that was expanded, and then I executed on that knowing, and I made money. And so if you want to make money, you need to do this. You need to invest in your most valuable asset, your consciousness, your skills, your education. Because the one thing that someone can't take from you in divorce, the one thing that the government can't steal from you, the one thing that your business partner can't scam you out of, is your knowledge and your skills. I guess that's 2 things. Right? But if you have the knowing and you have the ability to execute on that knowing, you will always be able to make money, because making money is a skill. It is a skill. Making money is all about providing value to people, right? Having something of value, a product that can actually help people overcome a problem, overcome a struggle, overcome a challenge, solve some kind of pain. That's your value. And you have an ability to attract people to that product so they buy it. It's not just about having the product. It's about having the marketing. It's about being able to convince people to buy the product. It's about delivering on the results. There's a lot of skills it takes to be an entrepreneur. And so you have to constantly expand. You have to constantly grow. But if you understand this meta skill, and a meta skill is basically just a large skill that encompasses a lot of smaller skills, but is applicable to a lot of places in life. If you understand this meta skill of making money, it will help you win in every other area in life. Because the thing is, the skill of making money is just the ability to give and the ability to receive. That's just the masculine and feminine energy. And so if you can give and receive in a way that actually brings like value to people's lives, then like you're gonna kill. I recently made a video called How Spirituality Makes You a Better Entrepreneur, and it talked about the masculine and feminine energy. The masculine is all about giving, right? The giving of value, the providing of value. That's basically how you actually get people to even want to work with you. I give free value on my content, and so people want to work with me. At the same time, you give value to your clients, your customers, and that is how they get the results, right? Awesome. So we have to give. We have to embrace our masculine because that's how we give. But if you're not embracing your feminine, you're not going to be able to receive. The feminine is about flow. It's about abundance. It's about receiving. And so you can give all you want. If you're not able to receive, how the fuck are you going to make the money? You need to have a healthy relationship with your masculine energy and your feminine energy. Before, when I first started trying to get into business back in December, I was way too in my masculine. Wonder why I didn't make any fucking money. I mean, I was being unauthentic, so maybe that's why. But I wasn't able to receive healthily because I still had a damaged relationship with my feminine. A relationship I was only able to heal by getting to the root of it, which was an ability, like a feeling of not being able to express myself authentically because of blockages I had growing up with my grandmother. Because I felt like I couldn't express myself authentically, I felt like I couldn't feel myself. I didn't allow myself to feel sad or feel angry because I couldn't. I would do those things around her and she'd be like, suck it up, boys don't cry, right? I'll give you something to cry about, right? I'm sure we've all heard those. And I've gotten past those things and we've talked now and I've forgiven my grandmother, which is why I'm at where I'm at right now. Because I've healed my feminine energy. And ever since then, I've been embracing it more. And I've been receiving more abundance because I've allowed myself to receive. And so you need your masculine energy and you also need your feminine energy because that is how you give and receive. That's how you make money. You make money by giving value and then you receive the money for the value you gave. And so if you want to make $1,000 online, you need to compound your consciousness. You need to constantly expand. You need to solve problems. You need to use content. You need to use leverage to package those problems. You need to create a product that is about that problem, and you use content to market that product. If you don't know how to do any of that, you surrender to God and he'll show you the way. Now, maybe God is pointing you in my way. Maybe you believe that, oh yeah, God's pointing me in your direction, Jaden. Let's work together. I think you can help me out. If that sounds like you, if you're a spiritual entrepreneur or a spiritual entrepreneur and you want to finally take action, make $1,000 online as a coach in 30 days using YouTube as your traffic source like I have, I want to help you do that. That's the second link description. Come book a sales call with me, all right? If you're a spiritual entrepreneur or you just want to join up my free community, that's the first link in the description. Me and Aaron are in there dropping game. We're actually going to be doing a 4-part lecture series in spiritual entrepreneurs. That's our free community over the course of August. So every Monday in August, we'll be doing a live lecture in there. If you come and catch it live, awesome. You can see it for free. If not, it'll be available as a course. That's going to be the beginner's guide to spiritual entrepreneurship. So if you want to tap in for free, catch the calls. That's the first link in the description. Spiritual entrepreneurs, I want to see you there. It's my free community, all right? My name is Jaden. I'm here building the community of spiritual creators, spiritual entrepreneurs. If that's something you want to be a part of, I'd appreciate if you drop a sub, drop a like, drop a share. Let's keep growing up our spiritual tribe. Do it today. Be better for it tomorrow. Catch you on next vid. Thumbs out.